Fellas, forgive me. This video should have been made a week ago, but blame Christmas. You see, currently right now, the Tree of Probabilities strike is the Nightfall Ordeal, meaning for those out there that are needing to complete 980 Nightfalls and grind for resources like Ascendant Shards, Enhancement Cores, Enhancement Prisms, or just all around exotics with some decent stat bonuses on them, this may be one of the best Nightfalls. I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up between this and like Inverted Spire, and maybe Lake of Shadows, but we've never had Lake of Shadows as a Nightfall Ordeal, or at least to my knowledge. Currently, right now, I've been speedrunning this with Les and Dimitri, and we've been completing this Nightfall sub 10 minutes. Put that in comparison, most Nightfall Ordeals for me takes approximately 15 minutes. And then like the one last week, which was the Scarlet Keep strike, that one took roughly 20 to 23 minutes per run, depending on whether or not you wiped. A very difficult Nightfall to grind for, but hands down, if you're looking to get prisms, shards, as well as exotics, this is one of the best Nightfalls to do it. And you got less than 24 hours left. Again, I am so sorry I have not actually pointed this out. Holidays, man. Now let's talk about the strategy here. You're already probably watching the gameplay. We're just running past everything. Essentially, the loadout that we're rocking, pretty much the same loadout that you have for every Nightfall Ordeal, 2 Izanagis with 1 Divinity. I'm the Divinity guy here. You also want to make sure everybody's rocking 1 of each element. Like with Divinity here, I'm covering Arc. I've also got Edgewise to allow me to cover Solar. And then for my anti-barrier weapon, I have Sacred Providence with anti-barrier rounds. Just space this out for the rest of your teammates. Pretty sure Les here was rocking something like Izanagis with the Pulse Rifle Adortative. And then Dimitri had, I want to say, a Void Bow. Can't remember which Void Bow, but he had anti-barrier rounds. Now, let's talk about team synergy. Really, all I would suggest is to like either have a Well of Radiance or a Bubble. You might even want to have both, and that's what we had. We had 1 Well, 1 Chaos Reach for just clearing mass amount of ads with some Geomags, and I was rocking the Bubble. I was also rocking Crest of Alfilupi, which I know is not the best exotic, but it actually does a pretty good job in PvE in terms of keeping your team alive. Like if we're taking too much heat from something, like a barrier champion, popping that barricade, at least with Crest, actually does something. Now in the middle area here, you really don't have to stop and kill anything. You can run past literally all of these ads. And what Dimitri was doing since he was rocking Chaos Reach was that he was saving his super toward the end of this phase in order to clear out all the ads on top of that platform area. Because the door locks, of course, you can't go through that barrier until you've killed all the ads. So save a super up until that point. But everything inside of this Infinite Force area, you can just run past all of these ads. There's no barrier champions here, so there's absolutely no reason to slow down. Now the next area is kind of when I pop my super. I'm gonna get my bubble back before the boss phase, but popping my super in this area just to clear out some of the initial ads makes for everything to be much quicker. And again, for my Divinity users, you want to make sure you tap fire with Divinity. This saves a ton of ammo, but still keeps that crit up at all times, allowing your teammates to still do bonus damage. I will say, be very, very careful dealing with Colossus. They will mess you up, man. Now the next phase, after you kill those barrier champions, and again, you want to kill all the champions, as not killing them severely reduces the chance of you obtaining things like exotics or even shards. Here in this area, you got 2 of them. You got the one there right there in front of you on ground level, which is pretty easy to take out. I like to go around the right side because it kind of separates me from everyone else. That way, if that Colossus is pumping a lot of damage, it's not hitting all of us. But then you also have the barrier champion above you. Normally, that Hobgoblin is peeking over and you can see it. Pop a couple of Divinity shots and he's easy cleanup. Sometimes though, there were times that he was like backed up off the platform and you will have to go all the way up there to kill him. Now moving on into the next area, you've got another champion here. Deal with him in the same way. Pop some Divinity shots off into him. May even want to finish them guys, as by this point you're probably running low on special ammo or maybe even heavy ammo. So if one of you got like a heavy finisher on, go ahead and utilize something like that to get special back before the next big area. Now this area, yes, it has a number of champions, but they're not too bad as long as you lay low. Now this first guy can kill you pretty quickly. Just as soon as you jump up, start popping some Divinity shots into him, have your Izanagis ready, and then proceed to kill the rest of these guys. Now there's also a wanted guy up here above. I don't really know if he's required to kill or not. We just always end up killing him. You might as well. He's kind of beefy, but again, Divinity Izanagi make easy work of him. Now this next phase where the ship drops, you also have another barrier Colossus. Deal with him. At this point, you may need to finish off one of these guys in order to distribute more special or heavy, and then before actually dropping down into the pit where you're going to actually be doing the damage phase, you have another barrier champion here in which you'll deal with in the same way. Now inside of this pit, you've got a barrier champion here, deal with this hobgoblin, and then proceed to kill the rest of the ads, and this is where you should have your bubble back. Titans, go to the side there, pop your bubble, and get ready to go pound town on this boss, as you're going to want to kill this boss in this room. This is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration. Now, it's not necessary to kill him in this room. I'm just saying it is helpful. As soon as he spawns, though, even while he's sitting there showing immunity, just start tap firing that divinity. Start building up that crit zone. And what Les and Dimitri was doing was opening up first with like some grenade launcher shots, I think like Wendigo, maybe it was something else. And then after unloading their magazine, they would swap to their Izanagis and finish him off. Usually it was quick work, but after killing the boss, you still have to clear all of the ads. Now, what spawns after Valis dies or moves on to the next room, if you don't kill him, is actually 2 barrier champions as well as 1 overload champion. It's highly advised you take out that overload minotaur first. And again, this is something that as you begin to do this over and over with your fire team, you'll get better at it, guys. But take out that overload champion first and then move on to the barrier knights. And normally just a few shots of divinity will stun that minotaur. Now in the next room, if you happen to kill Valis in that first room, ads will just immediately spawn. You can deal with some of the trash ads, but again, as soon as you see that overload minotaur, go ahead and take him out. Now the barrier champions kind of spawn in funky at times. Sometimes they both spawn in front of you. Sometimes only one spawns in front and one can spawn behind you, which you got to be careful of. But the same descending order there, hit those overload champions first and then move to the barrier champions. Now, if you did not kill Valis in this third room, you'll have to finish him off, which if you're doing all these things like Weapons of Light, Divinity, Izanagis, he should be about dead. If you happen to kill him though, as soon as you walked into this room, the Nightfall is done, guys, and voila. I've got a few exotics here already. My thing is the materials. This is not a lot of materials. I spend so much, guys. I'm constantly upgrading things. I've got 9 shards to my name and 32 prisms. I feel so rich, guys. I am loaded. But really, if you're looking for a good Nightfall to farm up for materials as well as exotics, this is a great week to do it. Unfortunately, reset is tomorrow, and so I would highly advise getting a fire team together and doing it now. Guys, let me know below what times you reach. What was your best Nightfall run? I actually kind of get into it, man. I'm not even a speedrunner. I love PvE, I really do, but I'm always just sandbox testing. I never get the time to really optimize a loadout for a speed run. But this was a lot of fun, man. It's kind of addicting. It's like you're looking at the clock constantly. You're like, oh, I'm gonna trim off a few more seconds. And even this run right here, I mean, it was my fastest run, but I probably could have trimmed off maybe 10 more seconds if I didn't die. Either way it goes, in-game activities really require your armor to be fully upgraded. If you really want to take advantage of all of the mods, especially in this season, having materials to upgrade all these things is extremely important. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.